Hello there, the internet. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for stopping by. I've got another product review for you today. Today I am looking at the Canon. How are we pronouncing that, viewer? Is it Legria? I'm going to go with Legria. Canon Legria HF G70. It's a bit of a mouthful. But I've been very fortunate to have been given this by Amazon to test. I've had it for about a month now, and I've been able to put it through the paces with the kind of things that I usually use video cameras for. And, well, you're looking at it, looking at me through it at the moment. It sits just behind my laptop, and I tend to do all my game streaming on YouTube when I'm playing Gran Turismo or Dirt Rally or Street Kart, and I cast it onto Streamlabs, and I have a little picture of me in the corner of the game screen. Beyond that, I also use it for this purpose, for doing Amazon videos. It's usually fixed in position either on one of my tripods around the room or on this cantilevered arm as it's currently on at the moment, so it doesn't need to go very far. I don't use it for much in the way of outdoor purposes. It's basically a glorified webcam, and on that purpose it's very, very good. Now, obviously, one of the problems of reviewing a video camera is if you're using the video camera, you can't really show a great deal of it. So I'm going to swap to my old Logitech Brio 4K webcam that I've traditionally used for these sort of things. And I can speak to you while looking at the camera at the same time. So I'll catch you in a moment. Okay, now you can see it. There it is. There is the Canon Legria HF G70. Honestly, Canon, you need a better name than that. But there you go. It's the compact video camera. I say compact camera. This was my compact video camera from 20 years ago, and what's gone on there? I thought things got smaller as they got newer, but no, this is the new camera, and it's a traditional video camera. It's something you might be used to seeing your mum and dad having from the 80s and 90s. It's traditional in the sense that you put your hand through there, and it's a fixed lens, so you can't interchange it like you can with a DLSR or a mirrorless camera, and you pretty much control it one-handed like that. You don't really use your other hand on it, so everything it should be to hand here. Now I'll do you a quick tour around the camera. You get a traditional lens cap like that, or you get this hood mount. The hood mount itself has got a built-in lens cap like that, which is what I tend to use when it's sat up over there on top of my computer. It's got a manual focus ring there, which you can use by selecting manual or automatic there, and those are your zoom controls just there. The viewfinder, if you wish to use it, comes out like that. There's a battery with a release switch there. The record button is back there, and I'll come on to that in a moment. There's a menu button there and a toggle joystick to control around the menu screen. The screen flips out like that, and it could be rotated around like such as that. In fact, let's turn it on. You turn it on with this switch here. You pull it backwards to go into playback mode, so you can see all your recordings and photographs, or you push it forward for turning the camera on. And you'll see it's not automatic. It's not really quick. There's a couple of seconds delay before you actually can get into actually using it. But there is the screen, and you can use it in selfie mode as well if you truly wish to. The screen is touchscreen, and it's actually very, very good. It's not a clunky type screen that I've used on a lot of things. It's pretty responsive, and which is good because I'm not too keen on this menu system here. It's awkwardly placed. That menu button, you can see I'm reaching for it there. Doesn't fall to hand quite so easily, and the joystick it's okay, but navigating around the menus isn't brilliant, if I'm totally honest with you. You'll notice there's a number of buttons dotted around which have got numbers on them, which they are personalisable. Within the menu system, you can choose a number of options for those buttons to control, which is great, and there's a lot of options, but the one that I really wanted isn't there. You see, when you're in selfie mode like that, as I am when I'm up on the tripod over there, you're recording from the front of the camera, and the button to record is on the back of the camera, and it's in an awkward position. It's kind of surrounded by lots of things, so you could ideally do with one of those two personalisable buttons being a record button, but they don't give you the option to do that, which is annoying. It really is a shame, that is, because that's something I'm really missing, and I imagine there's a lot of people who'll be doing that. Now, for me, it's not a massive problem because I tend to use the software within Windows and Adobe to manually record what the camera's doing rather than using a physical button on here. I do it on the computer, so it's not an issue, but that's not the same for everyone. It's just a little bit awkward. Beyond that, the screen cover here also hides the memory card slot, which is also hidden by another little window there. And inside, if I just turn the camera off before I start pulling things out, you've got two memory card slots. So in there, you've got memory card with it's an SD memory card, and in there is another SD memory. Actually, it's a micro SD card. It's inside an adapter there, but that's actually really quite good. So that safeguards against any memory card failure, which is really good if you're doing some videoing, because you don't want to lose any footage just because the memory card's gone down. You can set up the memory card function to either to record, say, copy what's recorded on one, copy automatically on the other, or you can set it up so that perhaps that's just recording video and that one's recording photography, which is quite useful. I quite like that. Worth pointing out that while this camera is capable of recording in 4K, it's only recording 4K if your memory card is up to it. When I first put in the old memory card, a message came up on the screen saying, nah, it's not good enough, you can only record in full HD. So I had to go out and buy this particular memory card. It's a Lexar Professional 1667X, which has got 250 megabytes per second. It's highly rated on Amazon, that's where I got it from. And it's a good memory card. I've been using it for the last month. Yeah, like I say, I've had the camera for a month now, and for my purposes, it's been really good because it's just sat up there, it's not going around. But although it says compact, it's still quite a bulky, heavy thing, and it wants to rotate that way. So it becomes quite tiresome to use it for long periods of time. We went out for a big dog walk with a load of fellow border collie owners at the weekend. There's about 30 of us, and I actually started off with this camera in my hand for the first 2 minutes or so. I had this camera in my hand, and then at some point I picked my iPhone out of my pocket and put this in my bag. Every intention of going back to it, never went back to it, which perhaps says quite a lot that while it's a really good video camera, I was actually more comfortable just using the camera on my iPhone, and I think you'll find the same thing as well. As a fixed camera sat on top of a tripod, yeah, it's really good, but as a mobile camera, it's bulky, and I can see why people have gone away from using these traditional video cameras and using either DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, or even compact cameras. The Sony ZV range of compact cameras that content creators favour, they are really good, and most of them are cheaper than this. Certainly the two lower end of the range ones, which can rival this for most reasons, they're a lot cheaper. This, at time of testing, was £1,089, which is quite a lot of money, and it kind of sits in a mid-range. You've got the cameras around the £600-700 range, which will do most things for most content creators, and they'll be more than happy with those kind of cameras. They've kind of got fixed lenses as well, so I think one of them has got a changeable lens, but for a lot less money you can get a camera that does pretty much everything that this does, and will be a better photography camera. This does photographs, but you would never buy a camera like that to take photographs. It's purely really for videoing. And if you were a serious video creator or filmer, you would be more interested in buying something like the Panasonic S5 II, superb camera, or the Fuji X-T10, is it? Or the Sony Alpha range. Cameras which are perhaps £2,500, so twice as much as this, but give you so much more functionality as a content creating video camera device. Really be looking at, and they come with all the codecs, such as the Apple codecs, and everything you could possibly want for filming and making sure you get the correct broadcast format. This has been a really good camera to use over the last month, but would I buy it myself? I don't think I would. I mean, it is really good. I do like the touchscreen is really good. I could do with a bit more articulation in that, which is kind of commonplace really. There's only a few cameras that have multiple articulating screens such as that. We've got a cold shoe, which is ideal really. I've got a number of things that I use. For example, I use these cold shoe attachments. If I can actually get this thing to fit in here, there you go. which allows you to do a number of things. Firstly, you can carry it such as like that if you really want to, but then you can start adding things like, if you're going to be out and about, get yourself an external microphone. That's a Rode external microphone, and that slides into there. And this brings me to my next point. You have got a port in here with a number of connection sockets, and they are actually pretty good. You have a headphone socket, which not all video cameras have, and a microphone socket, which if you plug that in, that will take precedence over the built-in microphones, and that, with a dead cat like that, will minimise wind noise when you're out and about. It's also got a USB stroke Thunderbolt port, get that right. Thunderbolt port there for transferring straight to your computer if you so wish, and that's how I connect. I have a Thunderbolt cable plugged straight in from there into my back of my laptop, and I can stream exactly what I'm seeing live from there onto the computer, and it's instantaneous. It's really good, and also it works with this. You might see in shot is my Blue Yeti microphone. When I'm using this, what I'm hearing and seeing when I'm reviewing the footage is instantaneous and synchronized. When I'm filming from that, my Logitech Brio, the sound is 4 to 5 frames behind. I have to edit this in post in Adobe Premiere to make sure the sound syncs up. But with that and that, it's instantaneous. That's a good thing. It's also got a micro or mini HDMI port, which it's nice. It's got a HDMI port, but it could really do with being a bigger HDMI port. I reckon with a bit of play around there, they could have put a full-size HDMI port in there, because most people have HDMI cables which would work from there and plug straight into your TV. It's an extra expense. I mean, I've got one around the back of there, and it cost me like 15-20 quid or whatever, probably a couple of years ago. I've got one. It's not a problem, but it's an extra expense if you've got to buy an extra HDMI cable which you don't already have. You could also use the USB-C to HDMI type cables if you've got some of those. I've got a few down here, and they work quite nicely. At the back of here, you've also got another USB stroke Thunderbolt type port there. That's for your power in. Now, the mains adapter that comes with it will plug straight into that USB-C shaped port, or you can use something like a USB hub, or as I use, I've got one down here actually. I've got a 100-watt power bank, USB power bank, and that's great. So if I'm ever going to be out and about, that can power that really quite nicely for many chargers. I mean, it's expensive, but that's a very good option should you so need it. So the camera, for my purposes, has been really good. It's not waterproof, which would be nice if it was. So if I was ever to take it out and about with the say on dog walks or at the beach and whatever, it would be protected. It doesn't have that, which is a shame. But generally, the build quality is pretty good. These are just like rubber ports that close up here. Your zoom is there, turn on and off there. It's quite a basic camera. I'm just slightly frustrated that you can't change that recording position to one of the personalisable buttons, but generally it's really nice. But for £1,089, I wouldn't spend my own money on that. It would need to be £200 to £300 cheaper for me to consider it, and even more for me to consider it a slam dunk, because at that price, at say £800, there's a lot of cameras available which will do just what that does. As a test function, as a test item, yes, it's been great to do what I've been able to do with it. I mean, to me, it's a glorified webcam. I mean, it's so much better than that camera, which cost me about £200, but it's over 5 times more what that cost me. So it's not really a justifiable expense. It's lovely. It's going to suit people who would prefer the traditional video camera format like that. It's almost like a point and shoot video camera. If you were to get a DSLR or mirrorless camera, they're complicated things. Yeah, you can change lenses around, but they are extremely complicated things to use. They're not for everyone to just pick up and shoot. That does. You can just turn it on, press record, and off you go. You're going to get some good footage. It's got a inbuilt stabilizer in there. It records 4K with the correct video card, as I say, or at full HD, which is what your 1080p, at up to 50 frames per second. You could do 25 frames per second or 50 frames per second at full HD. So it's pretty decent, but there are better options out there on the market. It's a decent camera, but I can't bring myself to say I will pay £1,089 at time of testing to buy it myself. There are better options out there. Good camera, but not the best out there. Sorry, Canon. See you next time.